For the past 25 years, the Outlaw 200 weekend at the Fulton Speedway has been the short track event marked on every racer's calendar. This year's Silver Anniversary Edition has gone back to the original recipe with open rules for big block and small block modifieds, along with any combination of Hoosier or American Racer tire compounds. This proven formula has brought over 80 of the Northeast's finest modified pilots to the high banks of the Fulton Speedway for tonight's $20,000 Outlaw 200.
One of the most spectacular sights in all of motorsports this year, the four-wide salute to the fans right here at the Fulton Speedway.
Capacity crowd on hand. Nice to see all the energy and a great mix of drivers from Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Canada, and of course New York State as well. And as you mentioned, big blocks and small blocks. It's nice to see everybody together at one big race.
A lot of feature wins and a lot of championships in this field.
And unfortunately, a lot of drivers had to load up and are watching this one from the stands right now as, again, 200 laps, 100-lap segment. So let's take a look at the lineup. Stuart Friesen, of course, he drew the pole, as you saw earlier. Billy Decker will be with him.
Roy Bresnahan and Darwin Green will be in row number 2.
Row number 3, Kerry Terrence, a heat winner, and Frank Cozy Jr.
Row number 4, starting on the inside, Vic Coffey out of Caledonia, and AJ Slideways, Alan Johnson, a 4-time winner.
Row 5, Steve Payne in a borrowed ride, along with Jim Mahane, who's been running this event for a long, long time.
Back in 11th, Pat Ward in the 42B, and Mike Mahaney, Jim's son, in the field here tonight.
Right behind him, Danny Johnson, Justin Hares, they are in row number 7, a couple of dirt guys.
Starting back in 15th, Super Matt Shepard and Tim Fuller, a 3-time winner of this event.
Jimmy Phelps, the 99J, the track champion, and John Willman, one of the guys up from Pennsylvania.
Row number 10, Ryan Odaz out of Boston Spa, and Gary Tompkins from Clifton Springs.
Dale Plank, many championships at this track, and Michael Storms in the 4-star.
Back there in the 12th row, Frank Cozy, the 91 winner, and Mike Bowman in the 16 car.
Ryan Phelps, that's who we were with just now, and Brett Hearn, who had to come in from the consolation race in the 20.
Willie Decker out of Vernon and Sean Donath out of South Onondaga make up row 14.
Danny Barron picked up the ride in the 93 for this event, and Tom Sears Jr. in the 62.
Row 16, Brian Sage in the 12 car, and Jim Wicko Jr. out of Clark Summit, Pennsylvania.
Row 17, Rob Bellinger, breakout year for him, and Chris Heil, one of the good young talents in the 5H.
Paul Kinney out of Oneida in the 19K, and Chad Holman in the 91H in row 18.
And an Egwa regular, Pat O'Brien down from north of the border, and Wade Decker from the southern tier in the 1.
Rich Scagliata out of Bound Brook, New Jersey, in the X-Ride, Chad Phelps in row 20.
Row number 21, Bobby Farah, and in the number 10 car, Chuck Bauer, of course, became a regular here. He's in the 99B.
And all by himself in row 22, Lightning Larry White, 17-year-old driver out of Phoenix, New York.
Yeah, his high school is about maybe 5 miles down the road, and he will start at the back, but of course, anytime he's in the race, you know there's going to be a show. And there is the green flag waved by our representative from SUNY Canton. We are underway in the Outlaw 200.
200 laps, $20,000 at the end of the rainbow. Doug, let's get these cars moving.
And they go down the back straightaway, sorting things out here on the first lap. And the key, Shane, you don't want to be too aggressive early, but you don't want to lay back either. It's a fine line.
There is a race within the first 100 laps. You want to get established early. You want to stay on the lead a lap. With 40-plus cars on the speedway, you can go down a lap to the leaders in a heartbeat.
Stuart Friesen, he's going right after it here as we watch Darwin R. Green to the inside of Kerry Terrence as they're racing inside the top 5.
3 grooves to use, and AJ, just sliding underneath. Wow, Alan Johnson, you know he doesn't like to deviate off the bottom much, and if it's there, he's going to use it.
And he was about as low as you could possibly get right there as he tries to get around Terrence. Let's take a look at what Ryan Phelps is seeing right now. Notice how early they lift and how much he stomps on the brakes there, Shane.
It's not a surprise that he is lifting that early, Doug. This track is dry and slick, and he's running a big block, so you've got to be careful. You don't want to spin those tires. It's a 100-lap race, to the halfway point, so you want to stay on the lead lap, and you don't want to use up your tires too much because you want to stay on that lead lap. It's so important.
And I think a lot of people think momentum is the big thing here at Fulton, but this is a stop-and-go racetrack.
You ask any race car driver, momentum is the key to getting around the speedway. They will tell you, you want to keep the RPMs wound up, but you're right, especially if you're running the low groove. Those corners come up so tight that you do have to get on the brakes.
And you get a shot there, Frank Cozy Sr. that time. No, that's Junior in the 44 right there, as he is trying to hold off Kerry Terrence. And of course, Darwin R. Green, what a great run for him in his qualifying.
You know, we've had brothers win this race in the form of Alan and Danny Johnson, but we've never had a father and son combination win this event. Can you imagine the excitement in Wingate, Pennsylvania, if Frank Cozy Jr. could win this event?
Boy, he looked great earlier in his qualifying heat. Of course, they're fitted together. They've been sharing notes all day long as we see Terrence and Green still battling. And I've been impressed with Steve Payne. Had never been behind the wheel of the Dave Rauscher car before, and he looked great in this pretty much from the time he got in the seat.
Dave Rauscher has great equipment to begin with, and Steve Payne is a sensational driver. You could put Steve Payne in a wheelbarrow with 4 tires, and he can make it go fast.
Trouble for Dale Plank, and also for Darwin R. Green, an early flat for him. The right rear's down in the 1.
Oh, tough break for Darwin. Started 4th on the grid in that right rear tire. I'm interested to see what's wrong with the Plank 77X, though.
Yeah, just pulled high. We don't know what's going on with the twin leaf gas and tobacco ride. So as he heads to the pit area right now, we will take a break. We'll be back with more from the Outlaw 200 at Fulton Speedway.
Plank had a right front tire that they changed in the pits on the 77X.
All right, so back to racing. Stuart Friesen had led all laps to this point. Billy Decker's going to try to run him down. And of course, don't forget, Decker won this race last year.
Yes, he did, and the Franklin Flyer has had an up and down season, but you know, there's nothing better to make your woes go away than a $20,000 win. And right now, he's giving chase. And how about Roy Bresnahan, that 02? Boy, he's looking sharp here early on.
Here's a guy who runs here primarily. You'll see him on occasion at the Brewerton Speedway. We talk about a low buck guy and a guy you really want to root for. There's Roy Bresnahan right there.
Former four-wheeler racer. That's why he's so built like he is. He can manhandle one of these modifieds with ease.
Yeah, the girls like him in the pit area. You see Ryan Odaz down on the inside of Jim Mahaney right there. Let's ride along with Ryan Phelps, see how he's working on the bottom. And he is right behind this battle that we're seeing right here.
It looks like a little contact there with the 27J of Danny Johnson and 9S of Matt Shepard. They were 3 wide with Tim Fuller. You know, you don't want to go 3 wide in the you can go 3 wide in the corners, but the straightaways aren't that as forgiving here on the speedway.
Contact again between Danny Johnson and Matt Shepard that time in 3 and 4. As Vic Coffey now gets into the mix.
These guys got to be careful. They don't want to take themselves out of this event this early. You got to be careful, guys. Race smart and just keep your nose clean. There's a long ways to go.
Billy Decker keeping his nose clean and takes that nose right around the outside of Stuart Friesen.
Look at this. Danny Johnson drifted up the hill. Matt Shepard was able to sneak by Jimmy Phelps right there, and the 3H of Justin Harris also tried to get by.
Oh, and Danny Johnson into the back, and around goes Matt Shepard. Oh, and a couple of guys, Brett Hearn and Jimmy Phelps, just missing getting into that.
Wow, Brett Hearn almost got the wall trying to avoid a spinning Matt Shepard. I think he had a little bit of help. Well, it looked like he had some help. Danny Johnson got into the back end of him. Jimmy Phelps just got by as well. They were almost caught up in this one.
And of course, losing a lap there is Matt Shepard. Of course, he comes into this as the leader in the Super Dirt Car Series this year, but since it's show-up points, his finish here won't affect that much.
And Jimmy Phelps must have got a piece of one of the cars he just pulled pit side with that 99J.
I wondered, I couldn't tell if he was actually, let's see, take a look at what happens here. You can see Danny into the back bumper and around goes Shepard about 90 degrees short of the 360.
Right there is what sent Phelps to the pits, contact with the Brett Hearn number 20.
And there they are at the back of the pack now as they'll sort things out. Danny pulling ahead of Matt Shepard.
As these guys, cooler heads have got to prevail. But they're not gonna, oh, baby! Wow!
And listen to the crowd. Matt Shepard decided he was going to take action on that deal in turn 2 and go right into the left rear of the Danny Johnson.
I don't think they are exchanging pleasantries amongst hand signals either. Look at the damage on Danny Johnson's left rear. Whoa, baby. Is very good at this racetrack. Champion here, multi-time future winner. But you got to remember, Stuart Friesen does have a dirt car 358 modified Super Dirt Car Series win at this racetrack, so he knows how to get around the Fulton Speedway as well.
And of course, he is in a 358. A lot of the discussion before the race on what was better. General consensus is you want a big block for the heat, small block for the feature.
As they get back underway, Friesen able to shut the door on Decker. Brett Hearn, boy, you know he's probably ready to pounce. He has been close to the front since he started 26. A great run for him, and look at this power move.
Decker on the outside, trying to get it as Hearn watches for position number 3. I think Billy might have to run this time out of 2.
A great run off of corner number 2, and Decker finally gets around the Stuart Friesen number 1, and now the Friesen machine's going to have to hold off Brett Hearn.
Yeah, we listened to Billy Decker, said that we're going to tighten the car up just a little bit, so obviously it's working well right now. Friesen back to second, Hearn in position number 3. Saw a flash to the outside real quick. That's our 4th place running car, and that's Pat Ward.
Decker has obviously found something that he likes up top. He's staying right there, hasn't moved back down, except right there, lets it roll off the hill just a little bit, but he's been running the top side of the speedway last couple of laps. He's found something up there that he likes.
Posey now up to position number 4, so Frank Posey, who hasn't won this race since the 90s, looking to get back into victory lane. Let's ride with Ryan Phelps. Lifting early to try to get that big block into the corner.
Well, look at how black it is. It's like driving on ice. You've got to let the car just roll right through.
Let's flash forward a little bit. Battle for the runner-up spot here out of turn number 2.
In traffic one more time. Classic basketball move, pick and roll possibly, as Brett Hearn down the middle, greases up the sides and slides it through. No, he can't make it work.
That's Wade Decker, by the way, Billy's cousin, who was right there in the 1W. So Hearn will have to wrap up another challenge here as he'll try him on the outside as Decker is now in some pretty heavy traffic.
Heavy traffic indeed as they go 3 wide through corner number 3 and 4. Decker still using the top side and drives around the slower cars with ease.
If it's flat, drive on it. That's what Billy Decker did right there. Got to hold your breath when you squeeze it in between another car and the wall.
But how many times have we seen Billy Decker make that power move here at the Fulton Speedway? Gets the momentum off the top of the hill in turn number 4 and brings it off as straight as an arrow down the front stretch and just blow by everybody.
Hearn is up to second now, tiptoes his way to the outside of Stuart Friesen in some heavy traffic. John Willman down on the bottom, and look at Hearn going to go right to the inside of Brian Sage, try to put a little distance between himself and third place Stuart Friesen.
Hearn has a very good race car. Did you notice he was able to roll it through the middle and then put it right down to the inside and pull away from those guys? He's got a very good race car this early in this second half of this event.
Stuart Friesen right between the middle. I think his car's still working pretty well too. Billy Decker, the lead to the inside of the slower cars. That's Rick Scagliano right in front of him. And you can see they're 3 wide there, so Decker going to have to hold on for a second and try to find a hole.
Well, again, this time, sometimes you're the cat, the other time you're the mouse chasing, but this is one of those instances where you have to be careful in traffic.
Paul Kenny around in the 19K. Kenny, a regular at the Utica Rome Speedway, also ran at the Glenridge Motorsports Park early in this to go in this 200 lapper, and there goes Decker back down to the inside.
Interesting strategy by Brett Hearn. Went to the top side to get the lead. Now restarting on the top side, forcing Billy Decker to work on the bottom. And what is just 47 laps here, because you remember halfway point, Decker earlier today, and rebounding nicely, Pat O'Brien out of Kingston, Ontario, Canada.
And of course, Pat O'Brien, no stranger to this racetrack, but only comes down here maybe about once or twice a year. More known, I think, for small block successes than big block.
Absolutely right. Him and his brother Danny running up there in the North Country at Brockville Speedway, Can-Am Motorsports Park, a little bit of everything, and even ventured down to the Brewerton Speedway on a few occasions this year.
And of course, there's the third member, Tim O'Brien.
That's right.
Member of the family, so 3 O'Briens. That's 3 wide. Brett Hearn continues to work through traffic, getting around Willie Decker.
Doug, I don't want to throw a jinx on anybody, and I don't want to put the Brett Hearn on the Sports Illustrated jinxes. Oh boy, Rob Bellinger bit out of shape there. But Brett Hearn again has never won at the Speedway. He has never won this event. He's been close. A few years ago, he was so close to winning $20,000 and hit an implement tire, tearing off the front end.
Just 3 laps to go, and you can see Hearn in some heavy traffic right here. And you can see comfortable margin over the rest of the field as he's working his way around. He just lapped Pat Ward.
No,
he's in the top 5.
No spotters. Nobody to tell him which lines to run in, where the second place car is. He has to drive by the seat of his pants in that number 20 machine.
And he's got just about a little over a mile to go as there are just 2 laps left for Brett Hearn. And now's the part you start hearing all those little noises in the car and wondering if something's going to happen.
Brett Hearn looking to become the 11th different winner of the Outlaw 200, Doug, and he's 1 lap away from doing it.
Laps Justin Hares now, so well into the top 5. I believe there's only 3 cars left on the lead lap at this point as we are on the final lap. Brett Hearn has won a lot of races, well over 600 in his career, but he has never won here at the Fulton Speedway.
This would be a big gorilla off his back, Doug, and he's gonna do it.
Brett Hearn comes out of corner number 4, and he wins the Outlaw 200 here at the Fulton Speedway. So Hearn, like you said, the monkey is off his back. First small
block here tonight, coming to the front of the field, and he gets to enjoy the spoils of his first Fulton Speedway win, and what a win it is.
Had 2 cars here, chose the small blocks. Small blocks ended up in positions 1 and 2. Big block in position number 3.
26, the first Doug, Billy Decker, Stuart Friesen, Justin Harris, Pat Ward, an impressive top 5.
And the big thing there, only 3 cars in the lead lap. Hearn was really fast in these closing laps. Jimmy Whitco in 11th, Kerry Terrence in position number 13, Chad Phelps 2 laps down in 20th place.
Back there in the 20th position, as you mentioned, Chad Phelps, a regular here at the Speedway, 2 laps down. Brian Sage, Paul Kenny, 4 laps down. And as we take a look back, the guys that had trouble, Tim Fuller coming home in 30th position.
And Frank Cozy running well so long there for a long time. He ends up in 26th. Victor Coffey had a tough day. He ends up in position number 31.
Matt Shepard back there in the 40th position, giving us some excitement, along with Danny Johnson, who finishes in 41st.
And Alan Johnson, not the result he was looking for, in 43rd.